Good evening, I'm John, and this is John News Breaking Report. We begin tonight with a developing international crisis in Latin America, as the United States has reportedly launched a large-scale military strike against Venezuela. According to a statement from U.S. President Donald Trump, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has been captured. Details are still emerging, and multiple sources are being consulted, but here's what we know so far. Just hours ago, the White House issued a statement saying that the United States conducted a coordinated military operation inside Venezuelan territory, targeting high-value facilities linked to narco-trafficking and what the administration has described as illicit state activity. In that statement, President Trump asserted that the operation resulted in the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, a dramatic escalation in relations between Washington and Caracas that could reshape regional geopolitics. The announcement, delivered from the White House press room, described the strike as precise and large in scale, aimed at dismantling what U.S. officials have repeatedly labeled a regime deeply involved in transnational crime. President Trump characterized the mission as a success and said that Maduro will face justice for alleged activities that the U.S. government has long condemned. At this hour, the Pentagon has released limited information, saying only that U.S. forces executed a targeted operation in coordination with allied assets, and that more will be disclosed as facts are verified. U.S. Southern Command has been placed on heightened alert, and the Department of Defense says it will brief lawmakers in the coming hours. In Venezuela, the situation remains chaotic. Official statements from Caracas have not confirmed the president's capture or provided details about the alleged military action. Venezuelan government spokespeople have accused the United States of aggression and violation of national sovereignty, and state media channels have reported explosions and clashes in multiple areas, including near the capital. Independent verification of on-the-ground conditions is currently limited due to communication blackouts and restricted access for international journalists. International reactions began pouring in within minutes of the U.S. announcement. Leaders from Latin America and beyond expressed both shock and concern, emphasizing the need for calm and urging restraint. Several governments called for an urgent meeting of the Organization of American States, while others demanded that any action respect international law and the sovereignty of Venezuela. Back in Washington, lawmakers from both parties have taken to microphones, with some expressing support for the administration's stated objectives, and others warning that unilateral military action could lead to a larger conflict. The U.S. State Department has so far reiterated that U.S. policy continues to focus on countering illicit trafficking, protecting American security interests, and restoring democratic norms, language that has been used in recent years to justify sanctions and diplomatic pressure on Caracas. Analysts say that, if confirmed, the capture of President Maduro would mark one of the most dramatic interventions in the Western Hemisphere in decades, rivaling historic confrontations in Central America and the Caribbean during the Cold War. Legal scholars point out that such an operation raises complex questions about sovereignty, international law, and the precedent it could set for future cross-border engagements. Officials in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East have called for verification of facts and an immediate cessation of hostilities. The United Nations Security Council is expected to hold an emergency session to assess the crisis and discuss potential humanitarian implications. As night falls in Caracas and Washington, uncertainty remains. Venezuelan citizens in major cities report disruptions in electricity and internet services, while thousands of protesters have taken to the streets in cities across the country. U.S. markets reflected early reactions to the news, with stocks in defense sectors rising and global indicators fluctuating sharply. Good evening, I'm John, and this is John News Breaking Report. We begin tonight with a developing international crisis in Latin America, as the United States has reportedly launched a large-scale military strike against Venezuela. According to a statement from U.S. President Donald Trump, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has been captured. Details are still emerging, and multiple sources are being consulted, but here's what we know so far. This is a rapidly evolving story, with profound implications for global stability, diplomacy, and the lives of countless civilians. We will continue to bring you verified updates and expert analysis as new information becomes available. From John News, I'm John. Stay with us for continuing coverage.